if y and z are integers, is y times z plus 1 odd? And so this number properties question, you just need to know your even and odd multiplication rules. So an even times an even always gives you an even. And so if you don't have these memorized, you can just use any example. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. An even times an odd, 2 times 3 is equal to 6, which is even. So the only way to get an odd product, you have an odd times an odd. 3 times 3 is equal to 9. So one thing to note is the threshold to determine sufficiency here is very low, because if we know whether y as well as z plus 1 is even or odd, it will always be sufficient. And so remember, don't confuse sufficient to say no with insufficient. And so whether we know y times z plus 1 is even or whether we know y times z plus 1 is odd, each of those would be sufficient. And so just glancing at our statements, I know our answer is going to be C, because using these two pieces of information, we can find out the proper term is the parity of y and z plus 1. Parity just means the even or oddness of a number. And so statement 1 says y is odd. By itself, that's insufficient because we don't know anything about z or z plus 1. Statement 2 says z is even, so that is really telling us that z plus 1 is odd. That's still insufficient because we don't know anything about y. And so then together we know y times z plus 1 is going to be an odd times, so that's statement 1 said y is odd. So it would be an odd times an odd, which should give us an odd. And so this is sufficient to say yes. But again, that is irrelevant. The fact that it is sufficient is all that matters. C.